Welcome to the Investor Coaching Show, a podcast to help you get an insider's view of the financial world and escape common investment traps. We look at the financial news of the day and help you make sense of it so you can relax about money. And here's your host, Paul Winkler.
All right, back here on the Investor Coaching Show, Paul Winkler talking money and investing. I was trying to look through historic returns. So nice 75, 37% return, you get 11. 76, 23% return, you get 11. Negative 7, you get 0. Positive 6 the next year, you get 6. Next year, 18, you get 11. You get 22% or 20%, 21% knocked off your return the next year. You got a 0 instead of 4% negative return the year after that. Your 21% return the year after that, you get
11.
Basically 11, and you get 10 knocked off of it. Then you get 11 knocked off of it the next year. You get the full return of 6 the year after that. And then the year after that, 1985, you get 32% return, so you get 11. So you get...
Well,
that seems like it's a...
How many years did you read that list?
About 15.
Yeah, so that cap, just to let people know, was only guaranteed for 5 years. Okay. And if you had had those kind of market returns after 5 years, in all likelihood, based on past behavior, the insurance companies would drop that cap to like 4 or 6
that
or
makes
7.
more sense to me.
They
Okay, now I knew there was a catch. I didn't understand what that catch was. Okay, so...
There's too many moving parts is what really bothers me about those.
Got it. Okay, Evan. Yeah, because I was, when you guys threw that out, I was, what on earth?
Yeah.
Because I had not seen that product.
They don't have tall buildings because they don't know how to crunch numbers.
Or mess people over. So you guys got to hear this one. You guys have not heard this one. So the guys in the office are listening, and I'm not going to use a name. I'm just not going to use a name. Although I am really tempted to use a name, I am not going to use a name.
Tell me else.
I'll tell you off air.
Just between us.
Just between you. So what happened, the guys were listening to a video of, and the audio of a radio show and video. Oh. And apparently what happened was this guy decided to, stop. So this guy, he was actually talking about people that use the 4% rule. And, this 4% rule. So if those of you that don't know what the 4% rule is in investing, Bill Bengen did research going back to 1900, and you have various academics that have backed this up of great stature. And it's all based on a lot of the academic research of the past 70 years, market efficiency, multi-factor models, taking income, diversification, how you put a portfolio together. Markowitz, 1990 Nobel Prize winner. Just a lot of fairly intelligent people. Let me just put it that way. Saying, here's how you put a portfolio together. Here's how you take an income from an investment portfolio. You do what we've known to do forever, which is diversify. Large companies, small companies, value companies, growth companies, international companies, U.S. companies, emerging market companies, fixed income investment vehicles, and all of this, okay? So here's the deal. 4%, you take 4% of a portfolio and you increase it for inflation each year. And you go, okay, so this would have worked over any 30-year period, is basically what Bill Bengen said. So here's the quote. Stupid nerd rabbit holes on Reddit with these morons who live in their mother's basement with a calculator have come up with these rules. Stupid nerd morons living in their mother's basement.
I prefer Hobbit.
Did Markowitz, who the Nobel Prize winner, live in his mother's basement? We just didn't know it.
I missed out on that story.
I don't have any.
Did Gene Fama live in a basement with? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really know anything about these Nobel Prize winning economists, University of Chicago, Yale University, Dartmouth professors. I didn't realize they all lived in their basements, but maybe they did. He said, so those are the people that, and he says, you should be able to take 8%. This is the quote. Yes, I got your attention now, Ira. So I was like, what? You should be able to take 8% from your portfolio to forever and never run out of money. Because you should be getting 12% on your investments, okay? You should be getting 12% on your investments. And if inflation is 4, 12 minus 4 is 8. You should be able to take that level of income from your investment portfolio. This should be, what's wrong? This is just math. This is really simple. Why can't we get this? Okay, so you guys want to explain so my head doesn't explode right now why that's bad, and then I'll give you the numbers?
Well, very simply, that would be a linear 12%, which nobody's getting 12%. Mm-hmm. And the subtracting 4, it's not taking into account any fees and helping to manage the money. Mm-hmm. That might have worked really well if it was 1980 and you were able to lock in a 12 or a 14% bond for 30 years. Mm-hmm. That would work. Mm-hmm. But with market fluctuations, the other thing too, the historical rate of 12% would only really be in small cap stocks. So, and
if you never panicked over a 40-year period,
right,
and the large S&P companies, the average is 9 to 10. Again,
so the problem, to put this in numbers, let me just put this in numbers, is let's say if you have an investment portfolio, $1 million, and then you're taking a 4% distribution, that's $40,000. But if you have a market downturn of 20%, because it's easy to see even a 40% downturn with a portfolio that is as volatile as U.S. small stocks, what Ira's talking about right here. So if you have a 40% decline, your portfolio is not $1 million, it's 600,000 minus the 40,000, you're down to 560,000. Now, what does it take if you're at 500,000, just let's say that number, what does it take to get back to where you were at $1 million?
100%.
100% return. Yes. Yeah. So 100% return.
With popularity comes notoriety. And since this host will continue to remain nameless, John Reckenthaler over at Morningstar did a great article about the fallout from this particular statement.
Okay.
And they started running the numbers over 68 30-year periods.
Yeah.
45% of the time you ran out of money, sometimes very soon.
Yes.
Kind of like having a 100% gold portfolio.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about the 8% rule?
The 8% rule and a 100% equity portfolio.
Yeah.
45% of the time you ran out of money.
Right. You want to know what's even a bigger problem here? You ready?
Lay it on me.
Okay. So I went into Morningstar, a database that actually has data on every single mutual fund known to mankind.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked back to just 1970. And I was looking for funds that actually had a 12% rate of return over that period of time. Out of, what do you guys say? How many mutual funds in the database? What do you think?
Oh, in the
the Morningstar database.
If it has the closed
variable
funds,
annuity
the ones that
sub-accounts
close,
as well?
if you can go back, let's say to 1972, and
sure.
it has the closed funds, it would probably have over 70,000.
About 70,000 maybe? Okay.
If we're including deceased funds,
Right, and you're including closed funds. And Evan, I don't know what you said for live funds.
Live funds about 26,000.
Okay, that's okay. So
I would say about 30. I would have thought 30.
Yeah, somewhere in 26,000, 30,000, whatever. You know how many funds had a return of that over that period of time?
1,100.
Over what time period?
2.
I was going to say 0. I was going to say 0.
2.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 funds. And why? It's because mutual fund managers screw up.
And we only know those 2 funds now. We don't know those 2 funds 30 years ago.
Yes.
Right. So there was an article that had come out in News Nation, and this is a recent article, November 13th. 4% rule for retirement withdrawals may finally hold true.
Oh, yes. Yes, I saw something about that. Yeah. After they give up on it, they decide all of a sudden, no, it works.
So it says the 4% rule is a popular way to think about withdrawing down your nest. their nest egg. In 2021, the max safe starting withdrawal rate was 3.3 per Morningstar.
Yeah.
And higher bond yields and moderating inflation have improved the outlook.
Yes.
And it goes on, there's encouraging news for those about to retire. The 4% rule may finally hold true as a safe
After people ditch their portfolios.
withdrawal rate.
Let's do this. Let's take a quick break and let's do more of this on the other side. You're listening to the Investor Coaching Show. Be right back. Thanks for tuning in to the Investor Coaching Podcast. Now, you may be one of these people that's been listening and realizing, wow, investing, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, and financial planning, tax laws constantly changing, and recognizing that maybe you might need some help in this area, but you don't want just anybody to help you out. So we have 10 offices in the Middle Tennessee area, and everything we do is fee only. We align our interests with your interests. So you can get an initial 15-minute phone call with any one of our offices just by going to paulwinkler.com/call. That's it. Every one of the offices is run by somebody with 20 plus years experience. They're all degreed planners. They all have academic backgrounds in investing, and you can get the help that you need. So if you want to set up a complimentary phone consultation, just go to paulwinkler.com/call. And we look forward to seeing you soon. All right, back here on the Investor Coaching Show, Paul Winkler, Evan Barnard, Ira Work, talking money and investing. Okay, so Ira.
All right, so to continue on with this article,
Yes.
it says that figure, the 4%, which comes from a new Morningstar analysis, marks a return to the 4% rule, the 4% rate, often referred to as the 4% rule, a popular guideline that suggests retirees can spend 4% of their nest egg in the first year of retirement before adjusting for inflation each year after that. Mm-hmm. Amid high inflation and worsening market conditions, Morningstar determined the highest starting safe withdrawal rate was 3.3% in 2021 and 3.8% in 2022. Now, due to the higher interest rates and bond yields, retirees can feel comfortable withdrawing down more in their first year than at any other point since 2021. The 4% rule may finally hold true as a safe starting withdrawal rate when considering a 30-year time horizon. Amy Arnott, a portfolio strategist at Morningstar, said in a statement, Morningstar ran 1,000 simulations of future market conditions to determine the initial withdrawal rate that would allow retirees to maintain a steady annual income. In 90% of those trials, pulling 4% in the first year and adjusting for inflation thereafter left money in the account after 30 years.
And what we find, this happens over and over again. You guys, I know that your careers and mine have paralleled in that you see something come out, Wall Street says, oh, embrace this. And then for a short period of time, it doesn't work. And then all of a sudden they come out in droves against it.
Right.
And then they decide it doesn't work anymore. Then people bail away from it because, oh, this doesn't work anymore. You don't need to invest in whatever anymore. You know, and what happens is then people listen to these people acting like they know what they're talking about.
Right.
They run away. Then all of a sudden that thing comes back that was supposed to be so bad. And then people jump back on board again and they wonder, why am I getting such bad investment results?
And investors keep listening to the same people that just misled them 4 years prior. That's really what I don't get.
It's a really good point.
You know, it's like food, you know, butter's bad for you, eat margarine. 3 years later, margarine does this, eat butter. And, you know,
or like politics.
Yeah, it is.
All we have to do is apologize for, you know, what we did. And then all of a sudden people are, oh, and they're so forgiving.
Or say they're scumbags too and just move on. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Well, we all lie, so we'll just, we don't meet our promises.
Well,
Right.
I think the real bottom line when it comes to the way you want to invest is this. Do you want to invest based upon the academic evidence, Or do you want to invest based upon some story, which might not hold water, might be BS?
And you look at it, with academic evidence, I've always said, Ira, that you have all of this information out there and people think, oh, academics seem so scary. But it actually, what it does is it simplifies the process. Matter of fact, there was something in the Visual Capitalist this week, and it was a chart that...
I love their stuff.
Yeah, right here. Here you go. Here you go. Mm-hmm. Guys, okay? All right.
Squint closely, people.
Okay, exactly. Here it is. 1 million investment choices. The rapid growth in the number of managed investment products is leading to decision paralysis amongst investors, is basically what they're saying.
Well, if you Google investment, there's 3.9 billion articles.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. And so hence what people do is they get nervous. They go to the internet for an answer, and there'll be an answer for everybody out there. And it will lead you to almost.
Well, if you go down to the local Barnes and
almost always to a bad solution.
If you go down to the local Barnes and Noble and try to compare the books on the shelf, one to do brain surgery and one to invest yourself. I mean, it's overwhelming how many more books there are for you to invest for yourself rather than for you to open up your child's skull and do brain surgery.
I don't think I'm going to try that.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I thought you were going to say go down to the local bar first, and then you said Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Like, where is this going?
I don't, so you look at that, and that's why, 401ks, we see that same thing, where they're basically limiting the number of choices that people have. Yeah. And you think that's better. It's not. But it's because of, limiting the number of choices is in a way what happens, Evan, you had this look on your face when I said that. The reason I said it's not
right
is because what they're limiting it to are portfolios that are less diversified.
Correct.
A lot of the target date type of funds, what they're starting to limit it to. And then if you have some other funds to go along with it, they'll typically have small growth, large growth, international large companies, and they'll have a smattering of a couple things, but they're not things that would diversify what you had in the target date fund anyway. And that's the problem that I have with it.
No, we really see that very, very true in the government TSP, the Thrift Savings Plan.
They were going to open that up.
There's 5 funds.
Yeah.
There's a large international, large U.S., small U.S., and 2 fixed income funds, and those same funds are in their target date funds in different weightings.
Yes.
They do have the mutual fund.
Yeah, they do have the mutual, and they do have that to some extent, but it's still limited.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had some people as just, they don't go that direction either because of that. Hey, this is Paul Winkler. Hope you enjoyed today's edition of the Investor Coaching Show. You want to learn more about what we do, go to our website, paulwinkler.com. You can watch some of the videos there, and if you're not already a client, you can set up a free initial consultation. Until next time, I'm Paul Winkler, reminding you that I believe that more educated investors are more confident investors, and confident investors are more successful investors. Have a great one. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Paul Winkler, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.